I will be remiss not to have a discussion as I continue building this platform about this day. I'm not a basketball guy, but this is sports below the surface, and I always do the research. That's why we're here, and this stuff is important. Ownership. We're going to read something that's going to be very difficult to read in just a second, but I'm taking way too long to preface this. But if you're still watching, thank you, because this stuff matters. This is the human element of sport. This is the business of sport. This is the unfortunate nature of the circumstances that are surrounding the city of Dallas right now. And there's the intro. It's pretty good work. It doesn't have anything to do with the Dallas Cowboys or the Texas Longhorns. It doesn't have anything to do with football. Okay, but it does have to do with sports below the surface. So if either of those three particular areas have any interest to you at all, then you're in the right place. I want to start by unpacking the trade and then kind of just paint a little bit of a picture and just understand exactly what happened from everybody's point of view. Start off with Nico Harrison. Do I think that he's a smart guy? Yes, I do. He's, in light of this situation here, been made famous for, or remade famous, people mocking his claim to fame, as they've called it, for his botched presentation to Steph Curry about his potential partnership with Nike. He repeatedly not only misspelled Steph's name, he called him Seth. He mispronounced his name, calling him Stefan as opposed to Stefan. And he even accidentally aired a clip of part of their pitch or their presentation to Kevin Durant. As a result, as we know now, for the last decade or however long it's been since that incident, Steph Curry has partnered with Under Armour and Nike alongside Nico Harrison, the now Mavs general manager, are out hundreds of millions of dollars. So Nico Harrison has made mistakes in his career. He's an imperfect person, as we all are. Mistakes as we all make, right? Imperfect person as we all are. And I think in this particular instance, yeah, he might be guilty of not doing his full due diligence to Mavs fans, first of all, in the United States of America, Slovenia, and all around the world, because this is a global icon that we're talking about here. He's guilty of doing millions of people across the world a disservice. He's guilty of not performing his general manager duties, whether he's qualified to do those duties or not, given that he was a 19-year executive at Nike, zero previous general managing or front office experience within the National Basketball Association or any other professional sports league or franchise, okay? Zero experience. He's guilty of not performing the general manager duties by not shopping Luka Dončić, making it known to the entire National Basketball Association and the rest of the entire world, Slovenia, United States of America, or otherwise, that this multi-generational player, once-in-a-lifetime player, a global icon, was not announced and leveraged to start a bidding war to receive the maximum return on investment that you possibly could have. He's guilty of that. One first-round pick plus Anthony Davis does not cut it. Ask anybody with any knowledge of the National Basketball Association or otherwise, The Mavericks were unfairly compensated. Just Google Kevin Durant and the compensation that the Golden State Warriors paid for his, or I'm sorry, the Warriors and the Phoenix Suns paid for his services. Google Mikal Bridges and his compensation, 5 first-round draft picks, to not even be the best player on his team. Google countless other players, not nearly as talented. One of 3 maybe in a 30-year span right now as Luka Dončić, in terms of one of one in terms of what he's accomplished. We'll just call it that. Within this young stage of his career, 5-time first team NBA, first team All NBA, 5 times. You could make the case that he, more or less single-handedly led the Mavs to the conference championship 2 out of the last 3 years, and the NBA Finals last year. This sucks. I'm not even a Mavs fan, guy. I mean, I support them. I enjoy watching them. They would be my team if I had to choose one in the NBA. But man, I've been so invested in being a dad, building 2 small businesses, one in the world of golf, one in the world of football. Well, they're small businesses now. They're not going to be. And being a father, working on myself in a lot of ways too, being better in every way possible. The Mavs, I stopped watching them routinely years ago. My best friends will tell you this. I'm not hiding that, okay? But what I am hiding is the unfortunate nature of what is almost certainly happening, why we are in this situation, why we are having this discussion, why the Lando show is going strictly sports below the surface here. Talking about absolutely nothing that relates to these 2 teams or football in general. We got to talk about this. This is the most groundbreaking, the most unbelievable, the most inexplicable, whatever adjective you want to throw out there. This probably fits, but I think unthinkable is a really good one, right? The most earth-quaking trade ever in any sport. You could make that case for sure. I will be remiss not to have a discussion as I continue building this platform about this day. I'm not a basketball guy, but this is sports below the surface, and I always do the research. That's why we're here, and this stuff is important. Why would the Mavericks do this? Okay. The last thing I want to acknowledge on behalf of Nico Harrison. I'm not defending his decision. I'm just painting the picture for you. Okay, that's what this is. This is painting the picture from every scenario, every viewpoint, every party involved here, including the fan. If you're going to supermax a player, and let's also be clear, Nico Harrison, the entire Dallas Mavericks organization have grown frustrated. Their frustration with Luka Dončić, his perpetual inability to show up in shape, his seemingly always banged up nature, the 3rd significant calf injury in the last 4 years for him. You could say that, he's such a ball dominant player, albeit incredibly talented, one of the most talented players we've ever seen. But because of that, because he's not necessarily the lightest guy, always having to play his way into shape, by the time he gets into shape, things are going well. He's able to close the season strong, but then you get into the postseason and it's like, oh, he's doing so much. That's why he can't play defense. And then his body starts to break down as a result of it. Okay. Now let's just think about this from Nico's perspective, and we'll move forward. Okay. we're about to pay you the contract you deserve because you are that talented. $350 million. A supermax extension. An average annual salary of about $70 million per year. If I'm paying you that amount of money, any organization, any business owner, hope the volume on this mic is not too loud. I'm going to turn it down just to be safe. Is going to ask a lot of questions. You're going to want to know everything. Everything is going to be overanalyzed. Everything is going to be under a microscope. The fact that this is a two-way sport, right? In the NFL, offensive players just got to play offense. In the MLB, guys got to do both. In the NBA, guys got to do both. So you better not be a liability on one side of the ball if we're going to pay you $70 million. That's what the Mavs are saying. That, anybody, any business owner, any general manager is losing sleep. Any ownership, losing sleep. Like, can I really? I mean, yes, he's one of the best we've ever seen, but can we supermax him if he can't play defense? They're probably having those questions. That's fair, right? On top of that, you don't work with our training staff. We thought you should have been back from this calf injury weeks ago. You haven't shown up to a training camp in shape in 3 years. You're always hurt. We're going to pay you $70 million a year? Right? That's fair, isn't it? Is it also fair? Could you make the case? Tim McMahon, leading insider for the Dallas Mavericks, has Nico Harrison on speed dial. Knows everyone and everything there is to know about that organization. Growing frustration over a multi-year span about this stuff. Okay? You're not in shape. Tim McMahon is talking to people that he trusts. And these people, some of which are executives in this league, are saying, yeah, the Mavs might be better right now. But you know what Mavs fans will tell you? We don't care. This is our superstar, the kid that we have been invested in. He is the face of our franchise, the face of our city. The best thing in Dallas Cowboys, or I'm sorry, see where my mind's at. In Dallas sports, since when? Dirk? In the case for Luka, I'm sick for the kid. The 25-year-old kid who has played professional basketball since he was 13 years old. I think 14, maybe, overseas for Real Madrid in Spain. Basketball is his whole life. Basketball is everything to him and to millions of other people who have been impacted by him and his story all over the world. The kid who's had the weight of the world on his shoulders since, you could say, before he was 18 years old, but since he was the face of a franchise, the kid who was supposed to unite a city, to give people hope, to inspire people, to change the world. the global icon basketball player, the 25-year-old kid who didn't receive a phone call. He had to find out this news from his television and from none other than LeBron James. I feel for him. He didn't want to leave. That's another thing that makes this thing so unprecedented. He wanted to be here. He was comfortable here. He loved the people here. He loved his teammates here. He loved his coach here. People were frustrated with him, yes. The organization was frustrated with him. But this is a kid who didn't have a chance to even come of age yet. I played professional baseball until I was 28 years old. I didn't feel like I had it all figured out until it was about a year away from retirement. And even at that point, I was already having those questions when I was like, there's more to life than this. I'm too old now. Nobody's going to give me a shot, the chance that I deserve. I didn't figure it out. I didn't deserve it until it was too late. That's the truth. But I was 26, 27 years old by then. And I hadn't accomplished a millifraction. That's not even a word. I just made that up. I haven't sniffed the greatness that Luka Dončić has put on display for the last 7 years of his NBA career. We could take it back even further than that if we want to. Luka was a better 14-year-old basketball player than I ever was as a mid-20s professional baseball player. Undoubtedly. Not even close. I was just a jag. Just a kid with a couple tools that worked hard. That's it. I feel for Luka. And it sucks that we're not going to get to see him achieve what he was inevitably going to do. So what he's going to do in LA. The Mavs can have their doubts about his health, about his injury, about his shape, about his commitment, about his community efforts, all they want to. To treat the kid as the scapegoat because of the shape that he's in. Even if, regardless of what shape he's in, he's still the best player in the world, one of them. To scapegoat him and to rip the heart and the soul out of every Mavs fan, member of Dallas, or even people like me who really otherwise wouldn't really care. Like, yeah, I'm tuning in every now and then. Maybe I'm catching a fourth quarter here or there. But it matters because people that I care about are affected by this. Right? It matters because I now have to question things much deeper than I already do. And that's saying a lot. Sports below the surface. It matters because countless kids cried themselves to sleep for 3 days because their favorite kid to watch, their favorite player to watch on TV is no longer a part of their team, part of their city. I'm sick. But I'm even more so sick at what this has come to. What we have become as a sports society, I guess. If all of this is true, and I still have to speculate, or I guess I have to preface with the big IF. Directly state that. Let me present my screen to you so I don't mess this up. And is it so convenient also, before we get there, is it so convenient that now you're going to see this in a second, and I probably should just shut up and start reading. And I'll get out of your guys' hair. I wanted to do this, if it still hasn't been made clear yet, for countless people who are just only, or haven't heard this story, for one. Number two, have just specifically focused all their aim and blame on one Nico Harrison. And are questioning conspiracy from Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA. striking his mighty right hand down on the NBA and saying, look, we need Los Angeles to be great and relevant and to have their next face of their franchise. You know, carrying the torch from Shaq to Kobe to Kareem to Wilt to LeBron to, I know I'm probably forgetting one, in that organization, that franchise, Magic. We've got to have one of the best there. Otherwise, we don't have a league. None of that. No, that's not what this is. This is ownership of the Dallas Mavericks, the team that Mark Cuban sold his majority stake to because, in his words, he saw what was coming and he knew what he was up against, and it was beyond his area of expertise, and he wanted no part of it. Maybe he felt that it was inevitable, that this was going to happen to Nico, and he didn't want to be the fall guy. People are pointing the finger at him, saying he's the big dumb idiot, because they were going to force this on him too, if. Okay? Let's get to it. It's been so long, I've almost forgot how to do this. Let me go here. Let's pull up Twitter. We will go messages. And here we go. All credit goes to Adam Levy, I believe is how you pronounce it. Adam Levy, Loewy, for those who are listening, from the Levy Law Firm. Maybe it's Lowy, I don't know. I feel like I've heard it pronounced Levy before. Forgive me if that's incorrect. He's Austin, Texas's favorite injury lawyer, and he's directly quoting in what he terms as A+ analysis on the Luka trade by the always insightful Chris Cradaville. And once again, forgiveness or apologies, and please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that name as well. So, Christopher Cradaville writes, as a 6-year-old boy, I watched the first ever Mavericks game with my late dad on October 11th, 1980. The Mavs beat the Spurs 103-92 that night. So having been with the Mavs since day one, their inexplicable giveaway of our generational talent is genuinely painful. But I have a theory as to what's really going on here. Premise number one, the Mavs trading Luka Dončić at 25 years old, one of the top 3 players in the world, to the Lakers in return for broken down 32-year-old Anthony Street Clothes Davis makes no sense as a basketball move. Virtually no one disputes this. So there must, as a result, be a non-basketball explanation for what is going on here. Premise number 2. I guess I could probably click on this for y'all. That's the wrong one. Number 4. Let's go back here. Number 2. There we go. Premise number 2. The Mavs' new Adelson Dumont ownership group has no real interest in basketball. And they have said as much. So this is where it gets really juicy. Okay. This is where we got to really lock in and pay attention. Okay. Adelson Dumont, new Mavs ownership taking over their duties from one Mark Cuban. I'm going to pee my pants if I don't take care of that real quick. Give me 30 seconds. Small bladder, so that had to be 15 seconds or less. If not, I apologize once again. Thanks for sticking with me. Hopefully, I've taken the time to edit this out, but with 2 daughters, 2 years and under, there's no telling what the next 48 hours brings. So, Premise number 2, the Adelson Dumont ownership group. That's what's really going to be important for y'all to remember here. Keep in mind, okay? Adelson Dumont. Ownership has no real interest in basketball, as they have said. To the Adelsons, the Mavs are just a means to an end, which is opening up the largest untapped gambling market in the country, Texas. A destination resort casino in DFW with the new Mavs arena in it is their frequently stated goal. So, in summary, the Mavs, they don't care about them. They're just the now majority owners, unlike Mark Cuban used to be. He actually cared about the Mavs. He loved basketball. He loved this team. He loved this city. Adelson Dumont, they're just casino owners, and they only care about using the Mavs to get a casino in Texas. Legalized gambling, basically, and creating a sports destination hub. Think WinStar World Casino just north of the border in Oklahoma, north of the Red River. It'll be something to that nature in Dallas. That's their means to an end and their frequently stated goal. Premise number 3, the Adelson Dumont push to change Texas law to allow their Mavs-centered destination casino resort is going so badly in Austin, Texas. Again, despite hiring virtually every lobbyist in Austin, Texas, their company, Sands Casinos, is not getting a bill through the Tex Ledge this session. I think it's also worth noting that Christopher Cradaville here himself is also a lawyer, an attorney. So another loss for gambling in Texas. And Tex Ledge is essentially the voting, just think of it as the voting agency that's going to either approve or disapprove this move happening, like the gambling, the casino being placed, a hub in Dallas with the Mavs. And I'm still talking on my webcam over here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not making eye contact with y'all. Good grief. My head is spinning. Tex Ledge is the end all be all to this decision, okay? Didn't pass the voting in 2025, so the next voting is 2 years down the road in 2027. Keep that in mind. Another loss for gambling in Texas, and it will be 2 more years now before the next legislative session. Okay, premise number 4. The Adelsons needed more leverage to get a gambling bill through the Tex Ledge, but they need leverage here. That's another thing that's important. But they already donate more money to Texas politicians than literally anyone else, and they employ dozens of good lobbyists. So he's saying that the Adelsons are giving money to these politicians already, and they're still not voting to approve their proposal. So they already donate more money to Texas politicians than anyone else and currently employ dozens of good lobbyists, so people advocating for them, right? So where the carrot has failed, they now need a stick. In other words, if the people that they're feeding aren't taking care of them and helping them out as a result, they're just going to start laying down the law, right? Beating them with a stick. That's his analogy here. That stick is the threat to move the Mavs to Las Vegas unless they get what they want. This is where it gets nasty. Premise number 5. As of 24 hours ago, the threat to move the Mavs to Las Vegas was laughable. The Mavs just made a trip to the NBA Finals and were led by a 25-year-old generational superstar. They landed a major free agent, Klay Thompson, in the offseason. They were beloved in Dallas-Fort Worth, the 4th largest media market in the U.S. Teams riding high do not move. Premise number 6. If their goal is to open a destination casino resort centered on a new arena, the Adelsons are better off with the Mavs being bad, unpopular, and unprofitable. Why? Because people aren't buying tickets, people aren't showing up. It's like, okay, they now have an excuse to the NBA to say, hey, fans aren't showing up, they're boycotting our team, we got to get out of here. Okay, so this is where the leverage comes into play. Why it would behoove them to suck and to trade their best player and not maximize return, right? So this is where the answer is why I was kind of throwing Nico Harrison a bone here, because this, assuming it's true, which I'm pretty confident that it is. Okay, I'll just say that right now. Christopher Cradaville. This explains why that happened the way that it did. Why this was done without Luka knowing, without LeBron knowing, without it being announced and starting to, leveraging Luka to maximize the ROI, right? Start a bidding war. That's where everyone's confused, right? You can paint the picture that trading Luka has to happen. Okay, but at least make it palatable for Mavs fans, right? Like make it fair with whatever they bring back. Anthony Davis is a top 10 player in the NBA today. Certain people, executives, players, former players, or otherwise in this league think that the Mavs are better now than they were before Luka. I'm just saying, I don't agree with that. I'm just saying people are saying that. Okay, so you could advocate for, yeah, you know what? I kind of agree, right? Like me and Nico, we've already kind of had, like, Jason Kidd was frustrated with Luka's unavailability and, you know, not showing up healthy and otherwise, right? Always hurt, not showing up in shape, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You can make the case, hey, look, you know, we're not willing to sit here and pay $350 million to this guy. We don't even know if he's going to be ready to play basketball when it's time to start playing basketball or not. And once again, I'm just merely painting the picture here for Nico. So needless to say, this is top down and not necessarily Nico acting on his own behalf. Did he screw up in his past? Yes. Is he a smart guy though? Yes. Does he love Anthony Davis? Yes. Is he friends with Rob Pelinka in the Lakers front office? Yes. These are all true. But did he go rogue just to go rogue? I don't think so. I do not think so. So premise number 7. So that's that trading Luka and not getting anything back, in summary of premise number 6, is why it would make sense for ownership to force Nico Harrison to say, we do not want you to maximize the return. We just want this deal done. Get it done. And if we suck in 2 years, it doesn't matter because that aids in our leverage. We now can say to the NBA in 2 years, if Anthony Davis doesn't pan out, this whole thing comes crashing down. Kyrie opts out next summer. So now you're looking at a oft injured Anthony Davis and a Klay Thompson led team. Like, you got nothing. Okay. And you didn't so much as get more than one pick in 2029 to show for it. So you can't rebuild your roster quickly, right? You could have if you did what happened, like when every other superstar gets traded, right? Like the Mikal Bridges thing. 5 first-round picks in return for his services. You can do a lot with that. That's 5. That's your starting lineup for the next 10 years if you hit on all 5 of them. The Mavs just got 1, and it doesn't start until 2029. Lakers have young pieces. They got Dalton Connect. They got another first-round pick that they could have sold. They got Austin Reeves. They got Rui Hachimura. Those are good defensive players. Those are, Austin Reeves is a good creator, good on-ball defender. You could sell that. That's a piece that fits on this team. If your goal of Nico Harrison is to win now, you can sell that easily. It'd be a damn good acquisition. So, premise number 7. The NBA would not allow a healthy franchise to abandon the fourth. Here you go. I should have just read this and shut up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm passionate about this. I get carried away a little bit. It's okay, though. The NBA would not allow a healthy franchise to abandon the 4th largest media market in the U.S., but if local support for the Mavs have dried up, then the aging American Airlines Center is full of empty seats. The political will to build a new arena has officially collapsed because people no longer care, right? That's what he's saying. And the promise of a golden new market in Las Vegas beckons. Wow. Imagine that, right? How convenient. Ask fans of the Seattle Supersonics if the NBA would block a Mavs move to Vegas. For those who don't remember or unaware, the Oklahoma City Thunder today used to be the Seattle Supersonics. They got moved because of apathy, right? Premise number 8, by giving away Luka in return for Anthony day-to-day Davis, the Mavs went from being a top-tier NBA team for many years to come, and who knows what now. The combination of AD, Klay, and Kyrie is the 2018 NBA All-Star team. That's actually kind of funny. But it's unfortunately now 2025. So the reality is that the Mavs will be very bad very soon, and they don't have the draft capital to change that. There's nothing they can do about it. Premise number 9. But even worse for the Mavs franchise is the day one fans like me feel betrayed and heartsick. I've never seen a fan base so angry. I honestly haven't either. Who is going to buy season tickets now? Like, this stuff is literally everywhere, guys. Everywhere I went, I saw people asking me about it at the gym. A guy was talking about it at the golf course. One of the maintenance guys at the to-go window, like picking up, I don't know, a dog at the turn or whatever. He was mentioning something about it. I heard countless other people, not countless, I want to say a handful maybe, just day-to-day interaction, people that would otherwise have zero interest in the NBA, like people that I've never talked sports with before, asking me about sports. So he's right about that. You know, people are just angry, sick, betrayed, like you name it. And I'm one of those people. And I otherwise, like I already admitted, you know, I'm not even a diehard Mavs guy. So who's going to buy season tickets now? He says, watch games on TV, buy and wear merchandise. The Mavs are already down 700,000 followers on Instagram since they ran Luka out of town. I think it's closer to 2 million now since the time of this tweet. This was a couple days ago. I guess he skipped premise number 10, but premise number 11. The Adelsons didn't trade Luka to the Lakers for old Unibrow Davis. They traded Luka for a gun that they can now hold to the head of Tech Sledge. Once again, this is the end all be all here. Okay, leverage to Tech Sledge. That's what this is about. Not Luka, not Nico, not you, not me. Leverage to Tech Sledge. Let's continue unpacking. This is a gun that they can hold to the head of Tech Sledge. Either you authorize our Mavs-centered casino, or we're off to Vegas, baby, and the NBA won't say no. There's your punchline. Premise number 12. So the Adelsons will get their Mavs-centered casino one way or another. Plan A is the new Venetian Dallas, but if Texas legislature continues to say no, then Plan B is now the Las Vegas Mavericks. And the unhealthy nature of the post-Luka Mavs makes Plan B, the Las Vegas Mavericks, very viable. It's disgusting, y'all. My wife has no betting interest in basketball, and she's losing sleep over this. She knows everything there is to know about football because she puts up with me and she hears about it all day, every day. Basketball, she could not care less. In fact, that's the one sport she won't let me leave on our TV when she's in the room. She can't stand it. And she cares about this. It's crazy. Perspective for you. And oh yeah, so this is premise 13. A nice side benefit of the gambling-driven plan is that the NBA's flagship franchise, the Los Angeles Lakers, we talked about this earlier, is now reinvigorated with one of the top 3 players on the planet. Much like Wilt, Kareem, and Shaq before him, LeBron too. The Lakers now magically, pun intended, have a new superstar. Premise number 14. Nico admits that he talked only to the Lakers. And this isn't like a premise. He's not presuming this. This actually happened, right? Nico said he only called one team. That's part of the whole frustration, right? You can pallet moving Luka, but you can't pallet doing it for the price that they returned as a result of it. So that essentially, not only do they part ways with the best player, they parted ways with the best player and have no means to otherwise rebuild the future of the franchise now that he's gone. Because you vetoed 6 years by making this move. Even if, like, let's just say Anthony Davis and Luka Dončić, undoubtedly they are the same player in today's NBA. They are tied for the number 4 best player in the world right now. And they're equally as valuable to winning a championship, getting another title, right? Stats will tell you that there's no difference whatsoever in either their offense or defensive game. They're equally as valuable, both sides of the ball. But, these guys have no outcome. They don't change the bearing or anything on the Dallas Mavericks team this year. They don't make them better. They don't make them worse. They're the same player, okay? Let's just call them twins. You're taking the 25-year-old twin before you're taking the 32-year-old twin. Right? So Nico admitted that he talked to only the Lakers about trading Luka. So this reveals that it wasn't a basketball-driven decision or transaction, which means everything that we've just read here from Christopher Credeville, the attorney from Austin, Texas, is not only viable, it's perfectly plausible. And I think we can go so far to say is this is exactly what's happening. He goes on to say, why not get 5 first-round picks for Luka, right? Just like Mikal Bridges. I think that's where he got that 5 number from. I'm sure it is. And this was just a year ago. This was last year, guys. Maybe 2. It's been so long. Time is blending. Why not get 5 first-round picks for Luka? Because the Addisons need the Mavs to stink and be completely hopeless by 2027 when the Tex Ledge session reopens to get their coveted casino. That's what this is about. So the final premise. The Addisons get their leverage and will have their new destination resort casino, one way or another, right? Centered on a new Mavs arena in the late 2020s or early 2030s in Dallas, which is plan A, or Las Vegas, which is plan B. The NBA gets their marquee franchise rebuilt in Los Angeles, so that's a win for them. The Lakers get their successor to LeBron and Kobe, win for them, and will now be good for the next decade. The Mavs and Dallas-Fort Worth, on the other hand, gets completely screwed. And guess what? Whether everybody knows about this, whether everybody believes it to be true or not, there ain't a damn thing anybody can do about it. The NBA won't, then who will? Who can? Only the good Lord himself. So I hope you guys found that interesting. I hope this was worth your time. I hope you have appreciated my perspective. I hope you have enjoyed the Sports Below the Surface. The Lando Show, man. This is me. I'm Lando. This is what I do. This is what I'm passionate about, and I'm sorry that I've been so hit or miss lately. I know that I owe y'all more than what I've given you. But not Father Time. Well, Father Time in a couple different ways, right? Or angles. Has just been commanding all my attention lately, right? So getting the best of me, I guess I would say. Deserving my best. And so I've just been patient with it. 3 weeks ago, 2 out of 3 girls in my house got sick with the flu. Following week after that, we went to Disney World for a week. And then up until today, so the last 3 days, so the weekends are always crazy. I usually don't work on the weekends anyway. So that trip backed into the weekend. And then the weekend now, as of yesterday, backed into my Wi-Fi crapping out. So it's been a crazy, crazy time. And before that, countless other things been going on. But it's just life, life happening. But things have changed recently. My second daughter is now going to be attending school twice a week with her sister. And so I will have 2 days out of every single week fully dedicated to this. And so you'll get more stuff like this moving forward. And I will only continue to grow and to improve and to give you guys the truth about sports below the surface truth that you deserve. And my mission on this earth, I've since come to realize in the recent months that, who am I? But a human vessel to be bold, to be faithful, and to be outspoken about why I feel like I was put here on this earth, which is to impact people, positively impact people, and to use the gifts that God has given me to expand his kingdom. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. It's really that simple. I've come to realize that recently. I've challenged myself in a lot of different ways. I'm working on things, right? And the thing that I've been saying, very passionate about too, beyond just sports. And shout out to this company, whoever y'all are. Hayo, don't even know. Found you at the vitamin shop the other day. Solid stuff. Nighttime, alcohol-free, like seltzer, I guess, sparkling water, whatever, but high quality. Just completely went off on a tangent and forgot what I was trying to say. But needless to say, I remember Christians are misunderstood. I feel like in a lot of ways, and the analogy I've been using is that Christians are not perfect people. I understand that them acting as if they are in a lot of unfortunate situations all across the country, all across the world, is off-putting to a lot of people, and I get that. But I just want people to understand, if anybody is still out there listening, Christians are not perfect, right? And the analogy that I use is healthy people don't go to the hospital, right? Sick people do. Okay. And the same is true with the church. Perfect people don't go to church. They don't read their Bible. They don't study scripture. They don't be outspoken about their Lord and Savior and why they were put on this earth. Perfect people don't do that. Broken people do. Sick people do. Sinners, people like me, that God knows how short I fall of his forgiveness and his grace. Yet he still loves us, no matter where you're at, no matter what you've done, no matter where you've been. He paid the ultimate price for you and for me, for everybody. That's what this is about. I've worn this on my neck for about 7 years now. And so often, every single day, I look myself in the mirror. I'm looking at my hair. I'm looking at how my body looks. I'm thinking about how I feel. My my project tonight on my other Instagram account, my dad account, I posted, it was about counting my blessings. Because there's so many that I take for granted, but that are just in plain sight, that I forget to be thankful for and to think about who did that. I get to come walk into my backyard and talk about the things that I love the most on this planet and get paid to do it and impact people as a result of it, of my passion, the gifts that God gave me. The only thing I'm good at in this life and on this earth, sports. It's the only thing I know. I run a dang golf business, for crying out loud. I'm not even good at that. My best friends, Hazel and Hack, they are equally as responsible for this recent personal. I don't want to say growth, because I haven't grown enough. I'm not satisfied, right? But it's just the challenging myself to be better in every aspect. Noah Vaughn, Garrett Hale, and Aaron Funk, you know who you are. Taylor Witch as well. So that's what this is all about. And the reason why I feel that's as relevant right now as it ever was, and I've said this recently, you guys have been paying attention. You've heard me say it many times recently, right? It's sort of been not a career change, but I've just altered my lens a little bit. Sports, the things of this earth, They won't sustain you. They do not. Sports will let you down. Your favorite player will let you down. Your kids, your dad, your mom, your grandparents, your boss, your best friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife. They will let you down. They will hurt you, and they will forsake you. They will let you down. The one thing that won't is this right here.